All right, welcome anyone who is popping in to watch the stream today. We are going to do a live tutorial on teleport binds and macros, as well as location target powers. And if we have time to get into it, we will also do the dual macros that I like to set up for most of my characters. So the first thing I set up on any teleporting character is my quick teleport, so I don't have to click my actual teleport power or remember where it's at. I just shift click, and the way I do that is slash bind shift plus L button, stands for left button. And I always put all my commands in quotes because sometimes the game gets buggy and won't recognize everything if it's not actually in quotes, or it'll think that if you have two commands, you have to do the double $ between them, so it'll separate them out if it's not enclosed. Oh, I've got the actual tutorial stream on Twitch. That's why you're not seeing it in Discord.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for it. I was like, I don't see it.
And spelling is important. So the number one error I see with people not having binds work is that maybe they spelled a power wrong or they spelled a command wrong. But the shift click command is bind shift plus L button, how exec name, teleport. And mine was already set up, so like you wouldn't notice a change with mine, but it makes it really easy to travel across zone quickly. And the important thing with the shift click is if you type click instead of button, it bugs. So you've got to make sure that you use L button or R button if you're using your right mouse button instead. And then I do two separate commands for teleport target. So one is a click command, which would be basically the same setup, but with a different button used. So I use Alt and left button for that one. And then it's POW exec name teleport target, and that allows us to do this. Click teleport. The second one that I use for that is I actually set up a macro for it, so we're going to do slash macro instead of bind. I know a lot of people like to use the macro image, but when you're just starting out with macros and binds, it's I feel like it's a little bit confusing to have to worry about the images as well. So I just do the macro where it shows the gray button with the letters. So we're going to do macro and then a name for it. So I named mine recall. And this is where the location stuff gets fun. This is going to be a slightly different command. So it's going to be POW exec location instead of name. And I just put me, so it'll teleport you right on top of me. And then power name once again. And so it popped up down here on number 7. We're going to click that and teleport you straight to me. That POW exec location works a bunch of different ways. You can set it up to center on your target, which is useful for AoEs, for damage powers, basically, or any of the nature or plants where you have the regeneration tree. So that's really useful for those. You can also do a direction. So let's do up with a colon and then a distance. So we'll do up 100. And that's going to do this. Why won't it? Oh, it's probably out of range. Okay, so let's change the distance. There we go. That works. And again, this works for basically any location target power. You're limited by your range, and that's pretty much it. So, like where we had to change the distance on that teleport target, it was because I was out of my range. Let's see. Incan would work the same way. I don't have Incan built and equipped on this character, so I can't demonstrate that one. But you can do an Incan macro that locates on you. I'll show you quick. Exact location, me. And this is what it would look like. But since I don't have it, it won't work. Although I do normally try to eventually build one on every character, because it is really useful power to have. And then, let's see, for the location powers, so powers, or the location attacks, I normally do on a per character basis, since I don't have characters usually that have the same power set. So I'll do things that are going to be used by a lot of characters are usually keybinds. So my teleport stuff, those are keybinds for the most part. And damaging powers are normally macros, because I might have one or maybe two characters that have the same power set. So for this one, I have 2 location AoEs. One of them is Blizzard and the other one is Sleet. So we'll do the one for Blizzard to show if I can type it right. So again, it's going to be macro and then a name for it, how exact location. On this one, we're going to use location target and Blizzard. So that's going to create a new button. Just checking to make sure I typed everything right. And then since my target is currently, I don't know how to say that name, so I'm going to say Andre. So we're going to activate that macro, and that puts my Blizzard. You can't see it. I might have gone minimal FX on that one, but it puts my Blizzard right on top of them, which is useful for, say, your tank runs in, and you don't want to have things scatter. You just want to center everything on the tank. It's really useful for that. So you wait for the tank to run in, you pop those macros, those powers right on top of your tank, and it works the way you intended. I forgot to put these in team chat for you. Oh, okay. You got any questions so far?
When you said that you couldn't teleport out of your range, did you mean about the skills range, or because it would put me through the roof?
So teleport, I'm looking at the wrong power. Teleport target, it has a range of 240 feet, but there's a limit away from you to how far you can place your target circle if you're watching. So I'm gonna click to activate teleport target so you can see the placement. So you see where my white circle is?
Yeah.
That's as far as I can go to place the teleport for you. If I go any further, it turns red. So, see, that puts us at, it's roughly 27 feet away from myself that I can teleport you to. So where I was trying to teleport you 100 feet from me wouldn't work. Same with 50 feet.
Ah, okay.
If you have a hard structure that is in your way that you can't like bug through, because sometimes it happens, then you are limited by the structure around you. Let's see, my teleport up. So, yeah, see, I'm stuck by the ceiling.
How do you teleport through walls?
Okay, so that's actually a fun one. I have a bind set up on my keyboard to where I do that POW exec location target for my teleport as well. It's kind of my oh shit button for when I get lost. So if you look on Twitch right now, I'm standing behind a wall and I have you targeted. Provided Pocket D isn't weird about this, it should work. So instead of having line of sight to you, I'm standing behind a wall. I hit the enter button on my keyboard and I teleport through the wall straight to you. And what that will look like
Oh, cool.
is, it's one of the ways that I keep up with like Diver when he's doing a speed run, and I get so completely lost with super speed. Um, Stuck in walls, stuck behind torches, all kinds of shit. So um, I decided I was going to find a way to fix that, and this fixes it for the most part. There are a few maps that don't let you, and like if you've ever done an Aeon Strike Force, when one of the missions when you have to go through successive doors, um, that mission won't let you teleport through those doors. I think it considers them separate zones basically. Um, it also does not work through elevators. Wouldn't matter if you were showing that you were 50 feet away from me and I have a 500-foot teleport range. If you have gone through an elevator, I cannot teleport to you, which is fun to try and figure out. It's like normally when you go through an elevator, it'll put you 8, 9 thousand feet away from me. Um, there's a few that are weird and will show like 200 feet or something that I'll stand there and think, hey, I should be able to teleport this distance. And then I realize, crap, they went up an elevator. I can't teleport to that.
So can you teleport behind a wall without targeting anyone?
No. So, without using that keybind or without using the POWexec location keybinds, I don't know of any way to teleport through a wall because um, teleport, I want to say, was set up initially to be a line of sight power. So, that explains why it's a white target power. What I can do is if I can angle my camera just right, like I can find a little bitty spot to get into if I need to. Uh, so like here, I can barely see behind that staircase, right? It's just a matter of angling the camera. I do have a couple of other like kind of oh shit powers or binds set up for my teleport, and it's um for if I get into trouble and I need to get away and maybe give the tank time to taunt something off of me or whatever. I have two buttons set up. One is so I can teleport backwards out of the fight, and the other one is so I can just teleport straight up. Give me just a second to type these out. And then I'll explain. There's one of them. Okay, so on these two, I put two different distances. One is 100 and one is 200. And the reason for that is because um, a lot of times if you're in a building, you're going to have a wall or a corner or a piece of equipment or whatever way closer to you than you think when you're in the middle of combat. So I put the back 100 because of the fact that there could be something there, and this way you're less likely to bug into a wall or whatever. I've done it. I've bugged a couple of times and got myself stuck. It might be me.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it'll get you stuck in random weird places, like right in between a piece of equipment and a wall, or actually in the wall. That it's happened to me several times. So um, I like them for a oh shit, get out of trouble quick thing. But do keep in mind that teleporting doesn't stop them from coming after you. They will still come after you, but it'll give you a second or two to get an inspiration off or a self heal or something, or for the tank to grab their attention. So it's oh shit, save yourself kind of button. Or if absolutely everything else fails, at least that way, if you die after you teleport, you will be dying out of combat, so you have a chance to safely get back up. I hit the wrong button there. uh, oh, pets are another fun one that you can do with this POW exec location thing. So, um, you can set up your pets. You're on the stalker, so you don't have any pets. Okay. The only thing that I don't like about setting up the lore pets this way, um, granted, I still do it on all my characters because it is really useful, but I don't like the fact that you have to go back in and edit the macro anytime that you. So right now I'm set up for summoning. I think it's a tier 3 lore pet. Um, you have to type out the full name of the power, so you can't just do polar lights. You have to type out the full name. But whenever I upgrade to a tier 4, I would have to go in and edit that macro in order to change the name of it to match what the power's name actually is that's slotted. So that part's kind of annoying, but it is still helpful. So what that does is same thing as every other way we use this command. It just summons them right on top of me. So let's see, number 8. And then there you go. You have a one-click pet summon. Okay, so we covered teleportation, and Incan, and the AoEs and the pet summons, right? Oh yeah. That the POW exec target, the location target one is really, really helpful if you have combat teleport. If you're using combat teleport to get into combat to be able to drop an AoE, or whatever you're planning on doing, you can just set that up on a different number pad key, like, or whatever key you want to use. I use the number pad because I like to have my right hand on my numbers and work my stuff that way. During combat, I prefer not to actually have to grab my mouse during combat. But so I've got mine on. I have a couple characters that have combat teleport, and theirs is their target combat teleport is on the multiply button. So that would look just the same as the teleport through walls one. Except that the number pad keys have different names. Location, target, combat teleport. So for the multiplication key, it would be multiply. Does anybody watching have any questions that I haven't answered yet? Oh, and do keep in mind, there are probably a dozen different ways to do these. This is just the way that I do them. It's the way that works best for me personally. So I can teach you what works for me, but ultimately you might find something that works better for you. Okay, so I guess we do have time to dip into a little bit of the combo macros. So I really like having my Destiny and my Hasten go off at the same time, just because it gives me, basically helps me remember to use Hasten if I'm going to be using my Destiny anyway, right? So roughly every 2 minutes, my Destiny fires off manually, my Hasten fires off on auto. That's how I set these macros up. So to do a kind of a combo like that to trigger 2 powers, we set one power on, we set one power to fire and the other power to auto, because you can't technically fire off 2 powers at the same time. So this kind of gets around that. So we'll do macro barrier hasten. So the first command is pow exec name, barrier partial core location, because those names have to be complicated. And then the second command is going to be pow exec auto, and we'll set that for hasten. So this will always, it fires off the pow exec name first, and then auto after that. And then we'll put that there. Gotta check why my pump is screaming at me. It is not out of range. Okay. All right, so that's gonna look like the hasten is still recharging, but when you hit that macro, it's going to fire off barrier first, and then it put my hasten on auto. So the next time it's recharged, it'll go off for me. You can do this with most powers. Location AoEs and pet summons and things like that cannot be put on auto. So that's kind of irritating, but you know, it's because they have a targeting component as well. But that is how I've got my ice shield set up. Also, I've got my ice shield set up, so ice shield fires off first, glacial shield fires off second, and as long as I have you targeted, it works properly. One, and then that's the auto. But if I don't have you targeted yet, hitting that macro once is going to find me a target and then fire off the auto. But you'll have to hit it again to fire the other one. I don't know why that is. It's weird, but and then hitting it again fires off the first one. But that's useful for any time that you would normally use one power right after the other in combat. So like the shields for almost any power combination really. Like I said, I use mine. I've got my powers over here on another bar so I can see them recharge, but they're not cluttering up my actual bars that I use in combat. So I have extra spaces for there's temp powers that I want to get and use. I've got room for maybe accolades that I would use a lot, things like that. Let's see if anyone has any questions. And if not, then we will go ahead and call it here. All right. I guess that's where we'll call it. As always, if you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to either email me in game or DM me on Discord, tag me in the Sovereign server or something. My in game is at Drusilla. Thank you for watching, Andre. Thank you for joining me. Zip, we didn't hear much from you, but thank you for
I
hanging
was in the
here.
middle of the task force. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I figured you were busy. But yeah, thanks guys. Hope it was helpful.